Help to get a few things up.
Yep, always good. Pro Cycling Stats, our source of knowledge, really, when it comes to post race analysis. Also, a bit of pre race analysis. It's good when and during, when you, especially in the current day and age, when you seem to learn a new name every bike race. There's just young pups coming up left, right, and centre in the World Tour, Campbell. We're here today to talk about the Giro d'Italia Stage 2 and Liège-Bastogne-Liège, which was also run 1 last night. Pre-daylight savings, you were half a chance to watch the stage. Now it's early. The races are heading deep into the morning.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be catching myself watching too much live bike racing. I think I spent a fair bit of juices throughout the tour. So yeah, it'll be GCN app of a morning, and that's what I did this morning. It was a real treat, actually. First time experiencing the app. A little bit clunky in parts, but overall, it's quite easy, and you can just fast forward the last 10K, watch it all, watch the highlights. So yeah, happy with my experience so far. I'll be on that front.
Yeah, an unpaid partnership with us and many Australian viewers.
Yeah, maybe you can neg that. Get us some free subscriptions.
Yeah, save $10 a month. Also, so Giro, you only really needed to watch the last 4K. For me, wasn't a whole lot. Nothing really featured beforehand. And then we had a bike race up the final climb.
Yeah, it was exactly what we thought. It was going to be a breakaway, and then a flat run in. Everyone thought they were a chance. A lot of teams come into the front, spending a lot of nervous energy unnecessarily. But that's just the way it is. Everyone had the instructions to be in the front, and we tipped Michael Matthews, but we also had Ulysses, a little bit of a favourite, but he absolutely torched them. He got a good bit of assistance from his teammate Conti that really set it up, and then he hit out with 600 to go. A few boys bounced across, Sagan being one of them, and then with 150 to go, really opened up the taps, and no one got close. Another one of these young guys that you were just talking about straight off the top, Honoroi from Denmark, running third in a Grand Tour stage. Have you heard of this snoozer before?
Nah. 23 years old.
Yeah.
97. Of course, he's riding for Quick Step, the most likely choice of team for a young hotshot to come out of nowhere. I think we touched on in the preview that there was nothing really to write home about in the Quick Step team, but there's a big asterisk with the classics on.
We just knew.
And
we knew that something was going to pop up with these guys.
Yeah. And Mikel came to the party last night with him being the only one that could really go with Ulysses initially before Sagan jumped across. But Ulysses blew his doors off.
Yeah.
He was flying.
Yep.
Was it a little bit harder than you expected?
No, it was kind of what I was expecting. Still a lot of guys there. In that 5-second group, there's 50 odd guys. Garner kept the pink jersey. But yeah, I mean, when guys like Lucas Hamilton and Vincenzo Nibali are in the top 10, it's a pretty grippy sort of finish. But it was exactly that middle sort of stage. Sprinters could win, climbers could win, and a kind of guy that was a blend of the two took the chockies. Just want to touch quickly on why we say Peter Sagan. We know his name is Peter Sagan, but we had an old teammate who called Peter Sagan Peter Sagan, and since then have been taking the piss out of that. So when we say Sagan, we know it's Sagan. Get off our back.
But it's actually Sagan. Also, no one's on our back about it. Michael Matthews continued what I just recall from the Tour de France last year, just coming all so close, always winning the best of the rest kicks, taking 4th position from the group. I was a little bit surprised that he wasn't there or a little bit closer when they went, based off how good he was going at the World Champs.
Yeah. I mean, clearly he couldn't go with. I don't think he was.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have been gambling, letting Ulysses and Sagan go up the road. Although we did win the best of the rest, maybe just went through a little bad patch, couldn't quite go with it, recovered a little bit, and then came good. But yeah, a little bit of a surprise that he couldn't go with those guys, considering how good he was moving at Worlds last week.
Anything else to note?
Yeah, Vlasov was abandoned.
Yes, there goes my 3rd place prediction as of stage 2.
And
Do you know why he abandoned?
I think there was some stomach troubles or something of this nature. But I mean, for Jakob Fuglsang, that's Lopez and Vlasov, two key guys just taken out in the first couple of days. So that's a massive knock for Fuglsang, who now only has 5 teammates. Big problems ahead for them if they plan on doing anything. And tonight's a good opportunity, actually, if we want to just transition straight into that. Mount Etna.
Yeah, the most Giro stage 3 ever.
Yeah. I think from all reports, it's not as tricky as previous years. They're attacking it from a different road than when they last did it, when Chavez and Yates went 2 up and left everyone behind. But still, the length of the climb is going to cause a few problems, and I think there's going to be some people that have to attack now, because there was a good point actually that was raised. I'm not sure who by, but I heard that it's October. It can be snowing in the mountains at the best of times in Italy. So there's a genuine chance that those mountain stages in the last week are snowed out, and the organisers have to go down a different route, which I'm sure they have. They have other alternatives planned for snow. So maybe a chance like this, where this mountain stage is definitely going to go ahead, could be a good chance to take time.
Do you reckon that's in their minds? Do you reckon that's in, especially say for Yates, that knows that he's probably the best on paper in terms of climbing capacity?
Probably not for guys like
thinking,
that. Maybe like a Vincenzo or a Fuglsang who's already a minute down. They probably need to get busy whenever they can.
To work.
But it's just something to keep in the back of our mind, because October, mountains, definite snow is a possibility.
Do you want to have a punt
on tonight?
On the winner? On tonight? Or how do you think it's going to be a juicy showdown? Do you reckon they're going to be going wild up there, or is it going to be tame?
I think so.
It's an 18-kilometer climb.
Yeah, I mean,
there's plenty of time to get to do some damage.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot of climbing. Yeah, there's some climbing on the way to Etna, but there's anything major that's going to lose a lot of teammates. So there should be a lot of guys there to control the first 10 to 15K of the climb. And then hopefully we can see some attacks from guys like we just talked about, Fuglsang, Nibali, and maybe even Yates as well. Might wanting to just see how Geraint Thomas is going early in the piece. Don't want to let Thomas ride his way into top form. So it could be a good chance to really just see where everyone's at.
It was looked like it was a nice little duo of Damien Housen and Lucas Hamilton looking after Yates last night, just doing the job, just nice and easy at the front of the bunch, keeping out of trouble, no nonsense.
Jack Haig was there as well, looking
Hagee
pretty
was
good.
There as well.
Cam Meyer earlier, so
it's a nice climbing inventory that he's got behind him.
Some good energy in the gym as well, I think, at Mitchelton Scott. So they're, I think they're in a good place to attack this. And you know what? I'm going to go with Yates. I'm going to go with Yates for the stage win tonight. You?
I think you have to. Well, because we haven't seen a genuine showdown, I think you have to go with Yates as the strongest guy, unless, like you touched on before, Vincenzo is looking to go wild at the bottom, or just throw it all down.
I'm really interested to see how. Nah, I wouldn't have thought so. I'm interested to see how our two boys in Joao Almeida and Tobias Foss fare.
Yeah.
I mean, Almeida second in the TT at 63 kilos is what he's registered at, is incredible. Clearly a lot of horsepower for that weight, so climbing shouldn't be an issue. Foss, former winner of Tour de l'Avenir, so really excited to see how these guys are going. And young guys, it doesn't matter anymore. You can be born in 2001, be in the front.
And of course, Chris Harper there in support / emergency for Team Jumbo.
Yeah.
Should we touch on the other race? We treated to 2 races last night. And the
Who's
other
your tip? No, who's your tip for tonight? Who's your tip?
Who's my tip? Kreiswijk.
Okay. Yep. Don't mind it. He needs to make up some time too.
He needs to make up some time. He's going to have the boys going wild on the front. The other race,
but not Harper.
But not a Harper. No, because he's the emergency. Got to keep him in track. The other race was on last night. Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Bit going on.
What's going on?
It was
last
superb. It was superb. Yeah, last 10 meters. Even I guess it really started to light up when Alaphilippe did, I guess, textbook Alaphilippe. Dancing off the front on the final climb. He had a little bit of a bingle earlier on, was having some issues, changed bike about 16 times, changed shoe. Like it was Alaphilippe in the way that he went about the changes. There was, I'm changing it all. I'm going back to my other bike. Oh, I need this wheel in. It was dramatic. It was Alaphilippe all over. He did look pretty cool though in the World Champs jersey when he was dancing off the front though.
Yeah.
And he did cause the split that ended up going to the final.
I mean, for us, it was a little bit disappointing to see him run the black nicks. We were expecting maybe some white nicks for La Doyenne. Alas,
wet weather though.
Yeah, wet weather probably doesn't help. But yeah, he was super. The pressure of the World Champions jersey is always a legitimate thing. But he was set up quite nicely by Tommy D, who kind of shredded the bunch on that last proper climb. And then, there was only a handful of boys that could go with him. And, geez, it was some group, wasn't it? Alaphilippe, Hershey, and then the 2 Slovenians who went 1-2 in the Tour. So, real good crop of boys. Michael Woods got super close. He was in limbo there. Couldn't quite get there.
Kwiatkowski was there.
Yeah, and then
got dagged on a second attack.
Well, that was Hershey. He almost had them all there. He had everyone on the limit. Alaphilippe was just absolutely hanging. And Hershey's just in some patch right now, isn't he? He is just. Imagine just being on a patch like that where you're just super confident, just know you're going to be in the finish, being a part of everything. Must be a nice feeling.
Oh, but also coming out of your first ever Grand Tour, like fresh and moving and taking on the best guys in the world and dropping the best guys in the world. And we'll probably touch on this later, but could have gone to back-to-back wins very easily. Like, yeah, something I never experienced. That's for sure. Anyway, we had Van der Poel was in the chasing group with Michael Woods, Richie Port, Bug Gill. He also had a couple of anchors in Tej Benut in the bunch. Tommy D was in the bunch, but every time the camera went to that second group, it was Mathieu Van der Poel just chopping turns like a madman on the front.
Yeah. Thought it was going to be a performance a la Amstel last year, just ride the front, ride everyone back, and then torch them all in the sprint. It really had that feel about it. But the 4 in the front, they were working quite well together. So, I mean, as strong as Mathieu was, I don't think he was ever really going to bring those guys back.
And then we headed into the finale. We didn't see any long-range moves from the 2 Slovenians, which... that was interesting.
Yeah,
But
yeah. When did this finale change? When did they not do St. Nicholas and then the climb up to town
this
where
is,
they make the left-hander with 300 to
yeah,
go? When?
yeah. I think this is brand new.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I like it.
No, I don't like it. I don't like the flat finish. Last climb, 13K to go.
It's a long way out.
A little bit. Was it what happened last year? I can't even remember what the parkour was last year when Fulsang won. I know we almost binned it on that
Nah,
downhill, which they did the same downhill last
yeah,
night.
I think it might have been the same actually.
Anyway,
About time to go. Yeah, that kind of wet forest downhill.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, flat run into the finish. Two Slovenians kind of sitting on with Hershey and Alaphilippe, kind of the two men that were obviously responsible for getting them to the finish with their fast genes. Alaphilippe looked very Alaphilippe like, kind of chopping all over the road.
Yeah, he was looking erratic, wasn't he?
Almost clipping Hershey once. Like, there was a lot going on. There was a group coming behind. Mahoric was off the front of that group chasing him down, ended up catching the group with about 200 to go. And then we saw the erratic nature of Alaphilippe continue in the bunch kick, chopping the absolute guts out of Mark Hershey and then butchering the salute.
It was just wild, wasn't it? I mean, just back to your point about why the two Slovenian boys didn't attack. I think they're both pretty quick. They're quickish. At the end of 6.5 hours, maybe they thought they were up for it, so they were just going to gamble on the bunch kick, the 4-up sprint, 5-up sprint, whatever it was. Mahoric came through, provided the perfect lead out for Julian. And then, yeah, like you said, just absolutely chopped Hershey up big time. And then what was he doing celebrating with 20 meters to go?
I don't know. Not his first race he's ever won. He seemed flustered though from the way back from the crash and the mechanicals and the wrong bike and the shoe and like,
yeah,
it just summed up his day. Like, but what was he also doing? Like, he chopped Hershey so hard.
It wasn't, and he looked back as well when he chopped him.
Yeah. So he's come off the fence. So there's kind of like there's a genuine gauge as to how far he's moved. He's not swerving from the middle of the road out. He's come off the fence. Hershey's on his left-hand hip, and he's just moved into him, causing Hershey to pull his foot, which pretty much wrote the Pog out as well because he was on Hershey's wheel. And Alaphilippe was still the quickest, but Roglic just helped himself to a victory after he threw his hands up in the air with 20 meters to go.
Helped himself to Liège. He couldn't believe it. I mean, for mine, the way I saw it, Hershey was coming past Julian.
Oh yeah, he would be. That was his race to win.
Yeah, so I mean, it sucks for him because he was probably the strongest guy there. That attack got rid of Kwiatkowski, then lined up Alaphilippe in the sprint, only to get absolutely chopped. Really disappointing for him, but he took it super well. I'm not sure if you saw the interview after. He was like super Swiss about it. He's like, yeah, haven't seen the footage, you know. I'm not too sure. Like he was really good about it. And then, yeah, I think Alaphilippe, after he'd cooled off, he apologized. He knew that absolutely he'd done the wrong thing. The relegation was the right call, but I think it's nice that he did get rolled by Roglic
for his sake.
For his sake,
yeah.
I mean, did he deliberately do that? Like, did he know that he was going to get DQ'd? So he kind of like, I don't know. It just seems so bizarre. I'm just trying to come up with some sort of explanation for celebrating from so far out after 6.5 hours to do that. But I think his interview on Cycling News, if you have a read, super classy from Alaphilippe. Completely put his hand up and apologised. So that was refreshing to see.
Do you think he knew he was coming to, and the chop was really the only option he had left? Like Hirsch,
100%. There's no other reason to go left by 3 meters.
Hershey's going to blow my doors off.
Yep, no doubt in my mind.
It's a nice little piece of confidence too for Hershey, knowing that he had Alaphilippe hanging for dear life.
Yeah.
Some other
notables, Alex?
Richie Porte again putting himself in the mixer.
Yeah. We were a little bit critical of Flesh Wallon. The start list wasn't clearly I think now we can see that Hershey was probably going to win anyway, but there wasn't a whole lot of other competition really there. Might be a bit harsh. Woods was there, but compared to Liège, look at that top 20.
A hot field. Yeah.
That top 20 is just out of control. It's incredible.
It's good seeing some GC boys there as well. Like it's got Tommy D doing the job, ripping the bunch to pieces for Roglic on the final climb. Like it's pretty cool. Even like Rigo was there, Port, Dan Martin, Kwiatkowski was. It was a hot field, and the race delivered as well.
Yeah, Nick Schultz in 22nd as well. That's a really impressive performance.
Yates crashed out early, which gave him the opportunity to take the reins a little bit.
Yeah,
which was good for him, and probably a race that suits Schultz quite well.
Chris Froome, what happened to him? Just a DNF.
He on the start list?
Yeah, he was on the start list. Red hot DNF. Also a DNF. A DNF. Greg Van Avermaet.
Jay McCarthy. They both crashed. GVA's broken bones. He's out for the season.
Yeah, I was going to say I cannot ever remember this guy not finishing a race or not pulling a turn.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit disappointing too. I don't think there's no reports of Jay McCarthy being injured, but somewhat of a missed opportunity maybe for him.
Possibly. I mean, he's in his top mix. This is good for him.
He hasn't got a contract on his team sheet for next year. And boy, oh boy, is it hard to get a gig at the moment.
Yeah.
28. He's 28, which normally is around the mark, kind of coming into your prime. But now it's kind of like, well, if you're not winning, why don't I just look for the 20, 21, 22-year-olds?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really hard time. And for those guys that are scrambling for a contract, 21-year-olds winning races is the worst possible outcome for them.
It just puts so many more guys into the consideration set that were previously like putting their hand up for a Lotto under 23 squad team, and now they're looking to go straight into the big league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely changing.
Anything else to note from Liège that stood out for you?
I don't think so. I think I kind of said everything that I was thinking.
The only other thing to note, Harry Sweeney picked up a win last night. The Queenslander in Piccolo Lombardia. He's heading from the Lotto under 23 feeder squad into the big league next year with Lotto Soudal.
Yeah. Solo win as well. Which
nice little victory just to, get things moving into next year.
Yeah.
Because as a 22-year-old, he's obviously expected to start winning now. He doesn't have 2 years of get used to the professional ranks. As boy, you jump in the deep end and you start swimming.
Yeah, it's cutthroat.
Yeah. Isaac's point on Facebook too. I 100% agree. Something we touched on a little bit earlier, like Grand Tour guys going head-to-head with one-day classics boys.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know. We don't really get to see it. Very, very rarely. Liège is probably the only one where you get to see it.
Yeah. I think it's one of the biggest pitfalls of the sport is that you don't always get the biggest guys going head to head. Like imagine going to Wimbledon and like Rafa going, "Oh no, I'm waiting for the French Open to come around." Like you get to see every guy go head, the best in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas cycling is this weird sport where the best are doing different things. A little bit of intel here from Andy on Facebook was just dropped. Chris Froome was just dropped on the climb.
Already thinking about next year. You think just it's weird to see. It's weird to see that guy not being around the mark, but rare. Like he's done Liège a couple of times, and I think he's gone there with a little bit of form every now and then. He might have had a top 20 once, but I don't think he's ever won a one-day race.
Maybe he's just waiting for that juicy paycheck to start coming in from Israel next year.
Yeah, because he's not getting a juicy one now.
Although, yeah, he's probably tight for $1 at the moment. He seems like the kind of guy, though, and I guess you have to be to win as many Grand Tours as he has, that he just loves it so much and just can't help himself but win, can't help himself but try, which maybe is why it's a little bit confusing that he is getting hooped in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. There's got to be something going on.
Yeah, I mean, getting left out of the tour as a 4-time winner or 3-time winner, whatever it is, that must have been pretty hard. It's hard to get motivated again. It's October. It's wet. It's cold in Belgium. Probably just not really fancying it, to be fair.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
Cool.
See you tomorrow.
Should be a good talking point, Edna, tonight. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep. We should be back here at 5 p.m. tomorrow. The only reason we wouldn't be is if we can tee up a guest to join us to chat about Etna. That would be the only reason. Otherwise, we'll see you back here at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Campbell.
Thanks.